Would you be open to getting a backup ticket?
You got to have backup money. I don't have that.
It's difficult to understand how they just can't figure this out. You know, it's going to impact everybody.
You guys got to get it together. You guys just have to sit down, talk like regular human beings and get it done. You know what I mean? I mean, this is ridiculous. People are really hurting out here. And it's not just the traveling public, but it's affecting the whole economy. And you people are to blame.
You want to know why the politics of the shutdown are changing? Like those people right there, because their frustration does not appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. Travelers across the country are preparing for even more cancellations as airlines are buckling down for day 2 of federally mandated flight cuts in the face of the government shutdown. Right now, nearly 800 flights for tomorrow have already been canceled. Today, a 4% reduction in domestic flights went into effect at the nation's 40 busiest airports. Here in Washington, we're following some movement on what could be a way to open the government. But that's also something that we have said a few times over the past month. But just about an hour ago, the Senate Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, went onto the floor to make this new offer to Republicans.
We will agree with the Republican request not to start negotiations until after the government reopens. All Republicans have to do is say yes to extend current law for 1 year. It makes sense. And since what we're proposing is only a simple extension of current law, the Senate could do this within a few hours.
So speaking of the United States Senate, this just in from President Trump just a few moments ago. He writes this on his Truth Social platform, quote, "The United States Senate should not leave town until they have a deal to end the Democrat shutdown. If they can't reach a deal, the Republicans should terminate the filibuster immediately and take care of our great American workers." Of course, the question, will the Senate work through the weekend to try to get something done? CNN's Arlette Saenz is on Capitol Hill for us. We're also joined now by CNN aviation correspondent Pete Muntean, who is at Reagan Airport, of course, just outside D.C. Arlette, let me ask you, I mean, clearly Senate Republicans do not want to end the filibuster. The president has been on them to do it, but they have been pushing back against that piece of it. What do you make of the fact, and how do you think it's going to affect the politics on the Hill that he is now saying that they should go nowhere until the shutdown is ended?
Well, Casey, Senate Majority Leader John Thune has actually left the door open to senators remaining here over the weekend to continue work on efforts to reopen the federal government. But what's unclear right now is that whether there can actually be any traction to do that. Yes, Senate Minority Leader today, Chuck Schumer, unveiled this counteroffer, which says that they would want to have a 1-year extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies in order to reopen the government. But Thune very quickly told reporters that that's a non-starter. He feels that agreeing to extend the Obamacare subsidies is a negotiation, and they have been very clear that they do not want to negotiate while the government remains closed. So right now, both sides still seem to be very much in their corners. At this very moment, Senate Republicans are meeting together, talking about the path forward, but it's not expected that they're going to emerge from that meeting being ready to get on board with Chuck Schumer's plan. Even if the Senate were to agree to that, there is additionally the very difficult math over in the House. House Speaker Mike Johnson has been very non-committal about bringing any type of vote on Obamacare subsidies up for a vote on the House floor, and that is because wrangling together so many parts of the Republican caucus in the House would also be incredibly difficult. All Republicans, or most Republicans who have talked about extending Obamacare subsidies, have said that in order to do that, there must be some reforms to the program. So it is expected that this proposal from Schumer will fall flat with Republican senators, and then the next question is what happens next, whether there could be any momentum behind the scenes for those bipartisan talks that had been unfolding over the course of the last week. But right now, many Democrats are feeling emboldened after their success in Tuesday's elections and want to try to continue to fight in this shutdown standoff. Yeah, for sure. Pete Muntean, we heard at the top here from a bunch of frustrated travelers who were laying the blame for their problems squarely at the feet of the government, which is, of course, what deserves the blame. But what are you seeing at Reagan, and how hard is it going to be for people who are trying to go somewhere, anywhere this weekend?
You know, the good news here is that we have not seen passengers stranded en masse. We've not seen people camped out in the airport, which is really a signal that the airlines
very glass
did a good job of getting the word out about
Pete.
this. And by the way, if I'm a member of Congress, I'm voting to put the cancellation and delay graphic into law. We should have this all the time, although it is a bit of a misery minder now. The big thing now here at Reagan National Airport is that there is a 4-hour delay for flights coming here. That is because of the fact that there's a shortage of controllers in the tower here. And so it's really a sign that this mandate by the Trump administration to slash these flights isn't really working. There are still shortages at air traffic control facilities across the country today, about 25 we have tallied so far today. The upset here is big from airlines because they received this 15-page memo, this emergency order from the Federal Aviation Administration late last night, essentially detailing that this is only the start. 4% of flights cut today, 6% of flights mandated to be cut on Tuesday, then Thursday that goes up to 8%, then 10% on Friday. So now we're kind of in the window of when the rush begins for Thanksgiving. And so that is a really tough pill for airlines to swallow, even though Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says this is all about alleviating the crisis for air traffic controllers. Airlines say this has done nothing but create chaos. And I want you to listen now to Duffy, who was here at Reagan National Airport earlier today, who is really sticking to his guns here on the rationale, saying this is all about safety because the air traffic control system is overwhelmed and these air traffic controllers continue to work without pay. Listen.
So if this shutdown doesn't end relatively soon, the consequence of that is going to be more controllers don't come to work, and then we're going to have to continue to assess the pressure in the airspace and make decisions that may, again, move us from 10% to 15%, maybe to 20%. I don't want to see that. Or, by the way, if controllers start coming to work and the pressure goes down, we can move those numbers in the other direction. Again, this is a moment-by-moment assessment. Again, doing all we can to make sure travelers are safe.
By the way, Transportation Secretary Duffy said here at National Airport today that the numbers are not an exact science. It's a bit arbitrary, which is insult to injury for airlines who are trying to get the word out to passengers via the app or text or phone to say, don't show up to the airport, your flight has already been canceled. Airlines tell me they're dealing with this as if they would deal like the mass cancellations from a major snowstorm. And they're trying to give passengers a lot of outs here to be able to rebook their flights free of charge. So we will see as this continues to unfold. It is a lot of pain for passengers, and one has to ask, is this primarily just for political gain?
And you have to wonder just how long is it going to take Mike Johnson when he finally decides to call the House back to Washington to get all 435 of those people from various corners of the country on airplanes that are not flying. Arlette Saenz, Pete Montine, thank you. Really appreciate you both. Have a great weekend. All right, my panel is back. David Chalian, it does seem to finally have been broken through. And what do you make of what the president has said here, this ultimatum he has issued saying the Senate shouldn't leave?
I mean, he clearly is eager to bring the shutdown to an end. He understands it's politically not working for it. He says it out loud all the time, and he doesn't think it's working for his party. But the way he said it is, and the filibuster, which Thune has already said there are not the votes there to do. I just think we saw something fascinating Tuesday night, and it gets to what Arlette was saying. Democrats can interpret the election results in two ways as it relates to the shutdown. One is, we just got an overwhelming victory, stiffen our spines, hold our... The other is, okay, we just got a big victory. Now we can work to open up the government and not take as much heat from our base for doing so because we just delivered this big victory to our base. It's interesting to see how Democrats are sorting through both sides of that equation.
Yeah, so this shutdown is, everyone is sick of it on Capitol Hill, but no one is willing to really make the move to create the off-ramp to get there. There was some movement today with Senator Schumer offering a deal for Republicans to vote on. It brings together what Republicans were talking about and what the Democrats want, but Republicans seem to outright be dismissing it. So it seems like it's going to last a bit longer. You know, Casey, we were joking earlier in the week that Trump should just cancel all the senators' flights specifically and leave everyone else's flights. Keep them here.
The airlines know which ones they're on.
They do.
Okay.
I'm sure Trump can find stuff. Duffy can find out too. But, you know, it's going to be through the weekend at least.